Wrestling Underground podcast. I am internet famous host Chad Porto. Joining me as always is my glorious co-host, the one, the only, the Marcus P. Freely Green. I don't know why I've been wanting to call you that for weeks, but I finally did it, and I don't hate it. I feel like you're I feel like you're West Wingy now. I'm going to go to the White House, and you're going to be the Undersecretary of Badassery. Marcus P. Freely Green.
Man, I love it. I'm the diggle to a celebrity. I love it.
You're the diggle to me regardless because you're my buddy, and I like my buddies. So, read anything good today?
So much. So much.
So I just want to go on record saying that I like Jordan Grace. I think she's a hell of a talent. That is the extent of my opinion on anything relevant. As far as that goes, I'm looking forward to seeing this week's episode of Impact. Last week's was pretty baller. She just won the Knockouts title, right? That was last week's. She won the Knockouts title.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I don't remember us doing a show last week. Zach had to go and get engaged or whatever. Maybe we did do a show.
That's Yeah. I think you did because I know because I be retweeting this stuff. But I think you did. You might have did it solo. I don't know.
Well, no, I always do it solo because asking Zach to do anything is pretty much like
That's the stick.
basically. Hey Zach, you want to do a show? I mean, I'll be there. I don't know if I'll actually do anything. And I was just thinking today. So Zach obviously got engaged, and I was like, yeah, I can't wait, to see how that all shakes out, And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, Zachary Tyler Duncan got engaged. And I realized that's not actually his middle name. I've now said it so many times, I've conditioned myself to think that that's actually his middle name.
Yeah, so imagine me and Chad pulling up to the wedding. We just standing there all proud and stuff, and then we don't hear Mr. and Mrs. Pew Pew. Like, whoa, wait, whoa.
Excuse me, are you... What's happening here? I was expecting Mr. and Mrs. Zachary Tyler Pew Pew. Whoa, what the hell's this nonsense?
The lies, the betrayal.
Everyone's looking at Marcus. Do you play for the Hawkeyes? God damn it, people. There can be black people in Iowa who don't play sports. So I watch some obscure shit because I like Serenity. I not just the show and the movies, but I like scenic stuff. Travel videos through Japan. Love all that. And I just saw this video on YouTube because you watched all this nonsense about traveling in Japan. Do you want to watch this? I'm like, yes, I do. It was a guy and his buddy going on a is that the right word? Transcontinental rail ride through Chicago to Seattle. And they went through the northern parts of the states, you hit Wisconsin and Montana and all that. And ironically enough, it was a white dude and his black buddy. I was like, me and Marcus. But while they were traveling, they were doing all sorts of vlogging and stuff. And I was just like, I would love, not even to document it for internet purposes. I would just love to take a 4-day train ride out to Seattle and back. Not even go to Seattle necessarily, even though I do have some friends out there. But just to do the ride, because I think I want to go on a cruise, not to go to the beaches or all the scenic little touristy islands, but just to explore the ship. I think that shit's cool as hell, man. I'm a weird dude.
Nah, man. I mean, that will sound coming. Long as the ship's stationed there, I'm 100% fine.
me and Marcus going to the ship. I get escorted to the deck, and then Marcus goes right to the engine room. Wait, what are you doing? This ain't the Titanic. Wait, is it? Exactly. Marcus, we gotta
go. So that thing start moving, I'm out of there. I told you, we should have just went looking for Fillmore Graves. I told you
that. Watch Rob Thomas get eaten by zombies. So is it a fear of the ocean or is it seasickness?
Probably just the ocean because I've never actually been on the ship to know whether or not I will get seasick.
That's
probably
fair.
just the vastness of the oh So many different ways to be screwed in this scenario.
There's so many jokes to make about this. I ain't
Yeah.
the right race to make them though, so I'm gonna just go to my next points.
You always see those YouTube videos of nice people sailing on boats, and all of a sudden something out of Aquaman comes up on the side. You're like, what? And oh, what's that?
Who released the Kraken?
Exactly.
So, to kind of alleviate what you said, I'm not terrified of heights, but I'm terrified of being on top of a skyscraper. Like I can do a plane no problem, because if we crash, I'm dead in 3 minutes. Like we're good. Don't worry about it. But on like a skyscraper, dude, I went to the top of the Empire State Building, like almost a decade ago now. And I was with my then girlfriend, and at the time, and I think I've told you this story before, but at the time, no one had told me that skyscrapers past like a certain point are supposed to sway in the wind. Not like dramatically, but just enough so that the tower doesn't topple over. And I never knew that. So when I'm up there, I'm like, ooh, this is so cool. Look at all this. Oh, look, there's Madison Square Garden. You know, there's probably something else that I don't acknowledge that from New York because I have no idea what the hell it actually is. It's like, this is cool. And then I felt the tower shift a little bit. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh,
this is my nightmare. And like everyone's
it's so funny to talk about high school, obviously we're vertically challenged, but I do have a fear of heights. It's just a whole different thing. Vertical is an MF, man.
See, like for me, like if I'm on like the side of a mountain or if I'm climbing up a mountain or whatever, I'm fine because Mother Nature's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to trust that a bunch of dudes in the 30s were sober enough when they built this? I don't think so, Chief. Like, nah, dog. I trust Mother Nature. I don't trust dudes, you know, in 1934, you know, drunk off their asses. They're, you know, 60 feet in the air getting paid 25 cents, you know, an hour. Like, no. I'm pretty sure Steve John Bob wasn't that dedicated to his job, you know. So like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to be on London Bridge when it falls down. Is what I'm saying. Like bridges are another one that fucks me up because I'm like, I've seen how this ends for so many people.
Yeah. Or that bridge. I forgot where it's at. The bridge where it's with the see through, and then they do the thing for some. I guess it's set up where like imaginary cracks come in it. Have you seen that?
Oh, I did, and I've never been more angry in my life.
It is the worst.
Dude, you can give someone a heart attack doing that. It's in, I think it's in China.
Oh, so bad, man.
And yeah, it's either China or Japan, and like it looks like a local, a native was walking across it, and it starts to crack, and he flips out, he falls down, he starts like backpedaling like it's a goddamn Jurassic Park scene. I feel so bad for him. Because people were like, oh, yeah, this is so funny. Not to the dude who thought he was about to die.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I can only, like, I imagine how people are in elevators if they claustrophobic. And that's just if the elevator's working. I can only imagine what's going through their mind when it gets stuck. And this is me coming off of just having seen Speed like last weekend. But, yeah, I mean, that is, oh, that is nuts. Like you said, it's better with a mountain because, like you said, it's been there however long. There's a certain, for some reason, there's a certain inherent trust there instead of with these man-made things. And the minute you see something that big, like you feel it shake, you like, oh hell no, this is not even. This is funny. This thing was built to be stable, and yet. Like, you know, it's weird, man. Like you said, man, nature will always prove superior.
That's why I'm always on nature's side, because I'm like, I've seen the day after tomorrow. I know how this ends for us.
Yeah.
I am now an expert in all things climatology. Thank you, Dennis Quaid.
It's just like, you know, even before the whole tragedy with COVID, it's like, I don't see how people ever complained about being stuck on a tarmac if there was technical difficulty. Like, you want them to rush that?
Right?
You complaining on the ground? You complaining on the ground.
You'd rather complain about the ground on the ground while dealing with technical difficulties than 3 miles in the air. Don't do it. just take your time. This is where the Ashley comment comes into comment. Like when you're on the plane, everyone's freaking out. Just mind your business. Just mind your business. Just calm down. I think that's why the train route really kind of speaks to me. Because one, I work in a profession where I don't technically need to take days off to do my job. I can take my job on vacation and still make money. Kalu Kalay.
Yeah.
The Jabberwocky is slayed. So like I could do like the entire scenic train tour thing, but the thing that really appeals to me is that there's no, there's what the hell, CTA, ATA, CTF, OTT, OTP, blacked. I don't know. Yeah. What the hell are they called? The little douche nozzles that like stick their fingers in your orifices and put you in cancer machines to try to make sure you're not carrying a spoon. I can't remember their damn. No, I'm pretty sure. No, that's the ATF is not that. What the hell? CAT? It's like CSA. I don't know what the hell that's called. I'm googling this. Goddammit. TSA. TSA.
TSA. Yeah, TSA. What am I talking about?
Yes, it's the CIA.
Body violators. Yeah, the violators, basically.
I mean, at least that would have been a more apropos name for the agency. Dude, I've been pulled out of line by the TSA at least 5 times. One time I was 12, and they're like, "What's in your bag?" And I was like, "Action figures." They're like, "Bullshit." And they opened it up, and then there's action figures. I'm like, "Ha, douche." 12-year-old me was a very mouthy son of a bitch.
Yo. Well, they get real assholes. Are they ticking action? Oh, give me the damn bag.
Sir, this one's eyes light up. That's Cyclops. He's the leader of the X-Men. Sir, I think it's a mutant militant terrorist agency. We need to pull him from the line. Motherfuckers. Little 12-year-old me's waddling into the goddamn room. I'm about to go Wolverine on your asses. But if you travel by train, there's nothing like that. You can just hop on in and go. And I was like, yes. And like, think about it. Like, I miss the big romantic gestures at airports. Like, don't leave. But now you can't do that because, TSA. But you can still do those scenes in a train station. You can run up right to the train and be like, don't go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that great scene where you think they're gone and then they reappear out of the smoke after the train's left. Yes. Classic.
All right. So we all know that anytime we do any time jumping trope, I'm going to be pissed. Oh, we starting off 4 days in the future in this goddamn episode? Ooh, guess who's already mad? But I will never have an issue with the bus and or train and or plane and or large object moves out of the way and the love interest is standing right there. Never going to get tired of that. There's a wrestling show on tonight.
Half of wrestling club.
So what? All right, so let's talk about this, Marcus. Did you enjoy The Circled Squared?
Yeah, I dug it. I actually went into this thinking I wasn't gonna like it, and proved to be the opposite. I didn't mind it. I think it's a good concept. You get a few people in there, promo match. It's a quickly proving ground. You get a good look at people, and again, it's a great feeder system for them to, instead of having to constantly rack their minds with, we got to get, additional talent. They can just funnel them in this way. And obviously, we're going to get to another part of the show, which may be the best part because it may be like an unintentional comedy bit where it's an inclusive show. Let's just say that.
I'm trying to rack my brain to think about what you're talking about.
With fan participation, if you will.
Well, there was one name I saw that I was like, schmuckadoodle-doo. Schmuckadoodle-doo. There we go, I can speak. Ooh. So I got one reason why you should watch the XFL. You ready? Boom. There's a player on a team with the first name of Scooby. You want to know the punchline? Scooby looks like Shaggy.
You know what my next question was.
Yep.
Is he black? You know.
No, he's
So,
white, but very stonerific. When I saw that, I was like, ooh. I was so happy to see that a player was named Scooby.
that is some very funny irony and a nice, heartwarming reminder that Scooby movie is coming out.
Oh, that's right. I am very much. I think there's going to be some sleeper hits this year. Sonic. What the hell is wrong with me today? Sonic.
Oh, funny. It was good.
Was it? Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait to see it.
Hey, man. Another and because we was gonna eventually talk about it, but I saw Birds of Prey, probably one of the most boring movies I've seen in a while. But Sonic, good stuff. Jim Carrey of old is back. Good stuff.
Are we talking
Our boy Cyclops,
like Mask, Jim Carrey?
Mask. We talking like a mixer between Mask, Ace Ventura, and Edward Nigma. Love it.
Ooh, you just hit all three peak Jim Carrey movies.
Exactly.
I am in.
Our boy Cyclops in there. Of course, me and Chad are gonna be crushing on Tika Sumpter. And and this was small, and I wish he was more in the movie. Neil McDonough's in there
Yes.
briefly, but he's in there.
Was he given any great sarcastic lines?
Fortunately, he had to succumb to the carry of it all, but it was cool to see him.
So I just looked up who Tika Sumpter is. Are you interested in her?
This is the only time me and Chad clash ever.
Because if you are, I might have to drown a bitch. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna pass on to you because I instantly turned off by married women.
Oh, she's married. Oh, okay. No, I don't want to. I'm like you. I don't do the married thing. Like,
Yeah.
this might shock people. I take promises, vows, and that kind of grand gesture to be very sincere and very serious. That's why
Yeah.
I've never proposed to anyone, because I don't know if I'm committed to that person to that extent yet. And I'll know. Like, I'm not one who cheats on anyone. It's not in my DNA. Like, I'm a very loyal guy. And I need to
Yeah.
make sure that whoever I marry is equally as loyal. And so I respect the sanctity of marriage. Tika Sumpter is like everything I'm looking for in a woman, though. That smile, those eyes. Woo! How you doing?
So gorgeous. But I'm right there with you for some reason. Find out they married, my attraction level kind of fades in a way. That lustful part of it anyway.
Yes.
Um
Still beautiful, but
but
now I'm no longer as thirsty. It's like I
yeah,
just had a gusher.
exactly.
I was expecting it to
Exactly.
just be candy, but there's a little liquid in there. Now I'm not so thirsty.
Exactly. Not as parched. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, check it out. This it's funny because Sonic is literally running past birds of prey, zooming.
Oh, you can't say zooming and not have me go all protozoa. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Make your hot go. Boom, boom. I swoop it over, go.
Disney needs to play that as like a throwback Thursday movie or something.
Right? Ah, that'd be a good one. So, James is on-screen married to Tika in this movie, and damn. You know who I always thought was super pretty but never got the love she deserved? The wife of Denzel in Remember the Titans. I remember looking at her going, Birdie! Fucking how old was I?
Nicole Ari Parker. Yeah.
Yes, I was like 12 years old when I saw that. Birdie! I lost all
Still is. Man.
I lost all syntax and conversational abilities when I saw her. I'm like,
It's so funny because I mean I don't know who the young Denzel young daughter grew up to be, but it's funny looking back. That little loudmouth stern girl is Hayden Panettiere.
right? Like, I didn't see her again in anything that I recognized her until here. I was like, oh, she looks familiar. She's beautiful. Who is this? Someone goes, oh, she was in Remember the Titans. I'm like, who? She's like, oh, she was the coach's daughter. And I literally went, the coach's daughter was black. And he goes, no, the other coach's daughter. Oh! Oh, that makes more sense than yeah.
You know what happened to her. Shout out to the Swole Lou Elastic.
Oh, right? Swolastic? Lastaswole.
Oh
We've been on
man.
20 minutes and didn't talk about shit yet. Welcome to what happens when NWA does 2 segments. This is what happens, folks. So let's talk about the
Shout
circle
out to them.
squared. Yes.
Yeah, shout out to them replaying that Melina segment though again. Woo!
Yeah. All right. So you know how I'm very much in tone with auditory sensations.
Yeah.
They played the segment 2 or 3 times, and each time they played it right when she's hitting her crescendo, like of the volume in her voice, and it's so screechy. I'm like because I'm wearing earplugs or headphones while I'm listening to this, and I'm just like stop, don't start it there. So yeah, the only time I'm not a fan of Melina is when she's hitting those high notes. I'm like no. Little blood's dripping from my ear. Huh? What'd you say? They want you to take it. They want you to take the roles. I don't know why I'm going full Corey Matthews, but there you go. Speaking of Corey Matthews, I like to imagine Sean Mooney is who Corey Matthews grew up to be. Only like 40 years older.
That would be so cool.
Right? Corey Matthews gets into pro wrestling. Well, I mean, he technically already was. He faced off with fucking Vader, whose son was Louis Elastic. We've come fully squared circle on that conversation. So Sean Mooney's here to introduce us to the show, and then we got high energy interview guy. I feel bad not knowing his name. To be fair, I've lived in the same city for 33 years, and I still don't know half the street signs or street names. Like, fucking deal with it. Like, oh, what do you want from me, people? He introduces the first crew, and I'm actually very familiar with them, and apparently so is most of the internet now. PJ Hawks is a longtime wrestler. Sorry, Luke Hawks. Luke Hawks, his father. Longtime wrestler. I'm trying to remember what all the things he did. I think he had a short... I mean, that was all short. I think he had a short stint in Wrestling Underground. Not Wrestling Underground. That's us. On Wrestling Society X. There we go. I can speak. He also had a stint in Impact as Altar Boy Luke. But that's like way back in the day. Like that's when he was doing that's when Impact had a had TV that was similar to Ring of Honor where it was regional and syndicated. So he's been around for a while. I think he's in his early 40s. No, damn, he's not even in his 40s. He's only 38. His son must be young as... He must have had his son young as hell.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, he had his... Yeah, that's interesting.
Because, like, when you think about Billy Gunn's 50-something. His son's 25-ish, give or take. So, like, that makes... I shouldn't say that makes sense. Because, like, there's... It's harder to have a kid when you're young, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I don't want to insinuate that it is. But it's easier to have a kid when you're in your mid to late 20s, early 30s, as opposed to 18. His son looks to be about 19, 20 years old. So good on Luke Hawks for being in the best shape of his life, by the way, at 39, with his son able to compete with him, because like. When Dusty and Dustin were coming up together, I think Dusty was in his mid to late 40s, and Dustin was 20. So Luke's in much better shape than Dusty was at the time. And I forget who was the play-by-play guy. I forget his name. Joe Galley. Joe Galley had questioned like, "Oh, this has probably never happened before." Well, Dusty and Dustin were a tag team for a little bit in old WCW, so it has happened before. Not to such a degree that it's been, fruitful in the ways of title wins. So, a little bit of that. I love the track jackets. It's actually, I think it's more akin to wrestling jackets. If you've seen those, like actual high school amateur wrestling jackets, they're called the Hawks Ayre, or the Ayre Hawks. I think it's the Hawks Ayres. Hawk Ayre. And the funny thing is, Ayre is actually a term for a grouping of eagles. Missed it by that much, guys. Marcus, what do you think of the Hawks Ayres?
Yeah, the name kind of threw me off, but I dug it. Like I said, the track jackets. I got to give me some track jackets. I like track jackets. I like the ones that strictly business wear too. Um, it just works really well for wrestling. But yeah, I mean, look at like you said. I mean, this was to my recollection. Because the only other one that I knew was Dustin and Dusty.
Hmm.
The one of the few father son duos that we got. I think that's cool. Of course, with my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. The first time these was so weirdos, such a weirdo. You rubbed off on me. I'm like, the first time these guys would have tagged would have been against his mom. Okay, let's get into the match. Because I'm like the first, like the last time that kid got a hot tag, it was something else. Um,
He came out with an
but
umbilical cord. I like that you're like, you're such a weirdo, because I'm like, yeah, I am. I can't fight the obvious.
uh,
So a flock of hawks is called a kettle. I don't know. Go fucking figure,
oh
man.
man, I wanted it to be cooler than that because it's Hawks.
Right? Like hawks already. Now, they call all birds of prey raptors. So that's pretty cool.
Interesting, because I guess is that talent related?
Is that talent related or talent related?
Like related to the claws, the talons.
Yes, because there's that old philosophy that raptors, after they went extinct, the dinosaurs turned into birds. So now they call birds of prey
Yeah,
raptors.
yeah, great. See that people? Give you history too.
I learned that from Animorphs.
Again, full circle square. We come.
We come back around. So they're looking great. Luke Hawks, I got back into his work when he was with, I don't know if you remember this. Remember when in like 2011, 2010, there was all these ECW off-brand revival shows trying to get started. That's when House of Hardcore
Yeah,
started to get their. There was another group called Extreme Rising, which was led by Shane Douglas. Jay Bradley, Matt Hardy, Stevie Richards, and Luke Hawks were part of that. Maybe not Matt Hardy. I think Matt Hardy. I'm getting confused with something else. But it was Stevie Richards, Luke Hawks, Jay Bradley, Just Incredible, and a few others with Shane Douglas. And that's when I got back into his work again. And he was completely different looking, and he had more of an MMA style, if I remember correctly. So it's great to see him again back in the fold, big time promotion. This is the kind of tag team that I think really steals the scene. I think the one thing that I have an issue with is there's a clash of sorts. You look at them, they're tight. PJ has his hair tight. Luke's got he went bald, so he shaved his head. He's got the bandana. They're well groomed. They got the matching tracksuits, and then they got this wonkadoodle fucking set of trunks, man. Like, I was expecting a little bit more, streamlined. Maybe I think is the word I'm looking for. Like a little bit something toned down for like this super serious shoot fight style. So I don't
yeah.
know if the two vibes are meshing well. They both look good independently. I just like I'm Italian, man. I look at things and I go, do they go together? Does the tag match the fucking cummerbund? Like, I don't think the trunks match the jackets. I would steer into the jackets and go with some very, I don't want to say boring, but like black trunks with like a white band around the thigh, and I keep the to almost bike short length. Like Triple H in 03, like right above the knee. I would go with something like that and go with more of a shoot fight style, but that's just an opinion by someone who's never taken a bump before. High five. What do you think of their look?
I dug it. Yeah, like I said, it's interesting the color. Like I don't know if I necessarily had um, I guess indifference to exactly what they was wearing as opposed to the color scheme of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like specifically with the kid, which may go more so to his youthfulness, but I thought the dad would have more, I guess, more traditional colors. I guess in that sense. But then I saw him in the ring, like, oh, at least they were matching in a sense. but maybe this is something that's ever evolving. I don't know how long they've been tagging.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's really cool that they are tagging. But I will say we're obviously going to get to the other team shortly. But I kind of liked the streamlined, uh, color coordinated, just aesthetic of the other team more. But I like the I guess the aspect and the aura around the father and son duo better.
By aspect and aura, do you mean who they are in relation to one another, or their dynamic look itself, or both?
Yeah, yeah, both.
Okay, that's fair. So before we get to the other tag team, we have apparently people who wanted to have their opinions heard. We had Pete and Jefferson, Brandon Turner, Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret. I'm a fan of the Brian Zane. I don't always agree with him, but I think he's a pretty knowledgeable dude. We had Connor Morgan, the NWA Kid. One of my favorite takes was from, I believe it's a her. If it's not, I apologize. But from her, she had a good take. We had Russell Hefe. El Jefe. We had Marcus. Hey, were you in this? Marcus Girl. No, okay.
Yeah.
Marcus actually pointed out something really well about the other Baldo twins. I liked his take on them. We had Brittany, Nicole. We had the Brotherly Love podcast. I don't know if I love that or hate it, because remember the old show? Maybe not. Do you remember Brotherly Love, the TV show with the Lawrence brothers?
Vaguely.
Oh, dude, that's one of my vibe shows, because I vibed so hard with Andy, the youngest. He was my dude. We had Brandon. We got clips of PJ Hawk doing his thing, and then we got Nikita Koloff, and he's all like, "I'm Nikita Koloff." I'm like, "Yes, you are." Thankfully, he didn't try to convert anyone in the audience. I was appreciative of that. Because for only X amount of dollars a day, he'll come to your city and talk to you about the Bible. Now, I don't know why he didn't set these guys up with the old axiom, these guys are biblical pain come to life. Because that would have been great. They missed the mark. So, these dudes are not twins. At least not identical. These dudes look vastly different from one another. They're just both bald dudes. Bald white dudes. They might be twins. They don't look like twins, though.
Yeah.
They got different heads, man. I'm telling you what. And they are billed as Jeff Lewis Neal and Tyson Dean. And I think Tyson Dean's the one on the right. He's the one in a bit better shape. He looks kind of like a younger Scott Norton, so I'm vibing with that. And Jeff Lewis Neal, hell of a promo. I'll say this about PJ Hawk. I don't think he's comfortable on a mic. Because he kind of sounded like, I'll come tell you a story. I'm like, oh, he's there, PJ. Wait until you hit
That's
puberty.
the kid, right? Yeah.
Yes, PJ's the kid. His father is a little bit better. But this Jeff Lewis Neal dude, straight 80s promo, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was short, repetitive, but simple, and he said it. His tone was such that I think that helped. It's funny because going back to the Hawks promo for a minute, they I was digging it for a second. Obviously, like I said, I intrigued by this whole father-son thing, because that's just cool. But it was going along, and then they said, we the ABCs and the XYZs, and even I think was it Galley that was interviewing him?
Mm-hmm. No, not Galley, but it was the other bald dude.
Yeah, he looked kind of weird. I'm like, oh, where's this going? This has the potential to crash. And then they kind of say that, because we start where we finish. I'm like, okay, all right, you didn't, all right, because that could have went somewhere. Yeah, stuck the landing on that. So yeah, the setup with Nikita was cool, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, they almost are pulling off instantly in this what I feel like they've been trying to do with Tessa's father in AEW.
Yeah. So like with this, bringing in Nikita and then slapping them with two no names, it works because you give them instant credibility by putting them with Nikita. So you don't need to worry about the idea of them matching the level because you know they won't. You know they have to build to it. You know, this is a team you have to get used to. With Sean Spears and Tully Blanchard in AEW, Tully was a name. Sean Spears was a name. When you put them together, you expect them to be instant success. With this tag team in AEW, in NWA, I mean, these Neil and Dean, you don't expect them to be an instant success. You expect them to have time to breathe. So Nikita's there to help present them in a brighter light as they develop. But Spears and Blanchard were supposed to hit the ground running, and they didn't. Spears was clearly placed in a position on the card that he couldn't handle. And no amount of Tully Blanchard was going to fix that. So they definitely, the promo goes to the Baldies. The match, I thought the Hawks looked a bit better. But you mentioned before that you like their aesthetic, the Baldies. And I do too. I like the white V-neck. I like the red fist. Very very Russian oligarchy. And considering who their manager is, their coach, Nikita Koloff, I'm like, that vibes very well with me. One of the gentlemen that we'll get to pointed out and said it looks like the Anarchy Fist, which it does. So, I good observation by him. So then we get to the next set of comments. Tom Campbell, who I believe is from not Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic. I think he's from Cultaholic. Then we had our favorite reporter, Sean Ross Sapp. And he had a great insight. Marcus, would you agree that Sean Ross Sapp's insight was the best? Because he went, oh, look, it's Nikita Koloff. Great fucking insight, Sean. Super couldn't have done anything else. We had Wrestling Days. Like, I know 4 dudes that look like this guy. 3 of them are very weird. We had I think that's a Selby and Justin. And Selby was the funniest. She's like, is he gonna wrestle? No, because he'd probably be paralyzed. We had William R. Washington. We got back to Brittany Nicole, Pete and Jefferson, Connor Morgan, Mikey Nichols, Marcus Gurley, Brandon Turner. Marcus Gurley was the one who pointed it out, by the way. Go back to Sean Ross Sapp. He puts over the squared circle. Then we go back to Melina. Then we go back to the action as soon as the video catches up. Marcus, thoughts on the match at hand? What did you think of the Hawks and the Baldos?
I dug it. I like the match. They told a simple story. Obviously, you got the young pup in the ring with first off, they kicked it off right because you got the father and son kind of pandering, doing a long pandering to the audience, turning it bulldozer guys, and they paid for it. And then now you got the young pup suffering for it. He kind of got to fight back, pulled off an impressive suplex beforehand, which he showed off some impressive amateur stuff, which was great. So he got a good showing out of that. Got the high tag, and it's funny because I think one of these guys that you talked about, obviously one of these fan commentators called it out. He's like, the son is the ABCs, and then the dad finishes off with the XYZ. Mm-hmm. So we got some good spine buster stuff in there. Some great, and then what was it, a pop up like power slam type of deal, or alley oop Goldberg type of slam?
I think so.
Thought that was cool. Yeah. So I dug it. I thought it was good. I thought it might have went past that part, but these matches aren't meant to be long. Just a nice little decent showcase, and that's a believable finish. So I thought it was quite good.
There was a segment beforehand where they sat down to do like a little interview, and I thought this interview where they were sitting in their street clothes talking was a lot better for both teams than their promo. And that's something that I think they need to maybe start with next time. Because I thought both teams looked a lot better in that little promo. These Baldos, they look like fucking Scott Norton and Arn Anderson had an illegitimate love child. And I love it. And I'm here for it. And I want more of it. Ironic enough, with all the dudes in the ring, 3 of them had shaved heads. The dude with the most hair was the referee. Just little observations. So we're gonna skip to the end of the match. So the Hawks win. We had Blue Meanie, Brian Heffernan. I don't know if you realized that was the Blue Meanie, did you?
No.
Yep, that's the Blue Meanie, Brian Heffernan. They comment on the match. I forgot that the Donna Wrestling was there. She's a big NWA mark, and I've had some enjoyable conversation with her on the old interwebs. Very knowledgeable. I appreciate it. And she wasn't really someone who I think was big in the commentary space for a while. She was just like a big super fan, but she's very knowledgeable, very fun to talk to. I was happy to see her pop up on this. Then we got little Andrew. I think this is adorable. Whenever kids do things that grown-ups do, I always find it adorable. Like, show me a 3-year-old who's pushing her, her little toy lawnmower with the little balls that pop, as you push it, next to her dad while he's doing yard work. My heart melts. Like, yes. So I'm always on board with anything involving little dudes and dudettes doing big people stuff.
Yeah, and kudos to NWA because obviously this was taped and they made sure that, they kind of covered their ass in terms of variety when it came to people they were showcasing in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly people who just watch as fans. You got commentators in there, young, old, black, white, male, female, and even kids. They made sure to cover the plethora. So like, oh, it's just got this such and such fan you think watching this. They covered all the bases, and they didn't get anybody, that's goof watching anything that these people clearly watch, because the fan base is growing, every week. So this is cool, and this really makes the fans feel like they're a part of it, as opposed to just constantly being told we can't do this without you, that type of deal. And basically just telling you to just buy the tickets to the shows. Like, this makes them feel like they're a part of it specifically every week, and it also helps their content. Like, I'm pretty sure this is drawing people to their channel, so it's really a nice extension that NWA is doing with this. So
I think the one thing I would like to see more of is critical comments. Too often in wrestling, you see the fan base reject anyone who criticizes beyond the middle ground narrative that everyone wants to find behind. It's okay to disagree with people. It's okay to say, well, I'm not going to be on the side of this conversation that you guys are going to want me to be on.
Yeah.
Because when you have a fan base that glad hands over the product, you could have all the fans in the world talking about it. But if all they're doing is saying how great it is, well, then I'm not going to sit here and believe anything you have to say. I'm going to think you're all being paid off. And that's the one thing I appreciate from Cody Rhodes. I have not been a big fan of the AEW as of late. I fell off of it. I intend on getting back into it, but we'll see what happens. But Cody recently said, and we're going to get to this specific story here in a little bit, but he basically said, you can't just disregard criticism. You have to keep your ears open for it. And I think he has a valid point in that. You have to be able to listen to what the fans want. If I'm sitting down at a meal, if I'm at a restaurant and I order a Philly cheesesteak and you bring me a fish tapia on rye, I have every right to send this back and saying, this is not what I ordered. This is not what I want. The idea of pro wrestling fans not being able to voice their displeasure about a product without people going, is getting to a point where neither side looks good, and y'all need to calm down. But I think in the NWA's, if they want to have a genuine product that the fans speak of, I think they should let negative criticism come in as long as it's constructive and valid. Commenting on, like the Hawks ring gear, I think that's valid. Saying, these guys aren't from the WWE, they suck. Not valid. That is absolutely not valid. So as long as it's valid and it's something you can, have a conversation about, I think it should be permitted. But that's just my opinion. Anyone else?
No, man.
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, to say you're 100% right. Oh, you have that small. What happens is somebody will wait until their fan base gets big enough, where they get a lot of eyes and traction. Then they'll start being critical.
Mm-hmm.
that whole thing. See that a lot too. But yeah, like you said, it's 100% fine. And considering the fact that this stuff is taped, they have the time to sit down, watch, and filter and see what's good and what's was absolutely trash. Of course, I doubt in this particular instance they'll get caught slipping on the rewatchability side again, because obviously the last time was a huge kerfuffle, if you will. But yeah, this is cool because everybody feels like they're a part of it, and even people that's watching be like, hey, maybe I could be in one of these videos one week. So
I'll never let go, Jim Cornette. I'll never let go. But I'm totally gonna let go because you've gone full crazy mode. There's a time when I was like, Jim Cornette's like a little out there. But after seeing him like the last 3 or 4 weeks, I'm just thinking to myself, dude is senile. Or really fucking angry. I'm not sure which one. We also got Kid Cadet. I don't know who she is. I'm sure she's a lovely person. Wrestling Days. So did any of the names that you saw pop up on the watch along list, did any of those strike you as relevant or cool or angered you or that you listen to regularly? Like for me, it's Brian Zane. I watch a lot of his videos.
it's fun that that resonated with me instantly because obviously you brought him up before. It's always good to see a Marcus.
Love. I am a fan of black dudes named Marcus. I don't know why.
Yeah, so am I. Just not ones that's embarrassing me, or embarrassing the name, should I say? Because it's happened. But no, actually nobody I've really seen or was familiar with. Like I said, Zane instantly popped out to me because of you. And then this guy named, I felt like I should know this guy, Wrestling Days, and then uh, and not to cut him off at the knees, but his voice started to annoy me.
Was he the one who kind of sounded like Scottish? And with a beard? Yeah. I vibe with you on that one. Like, I'm like, like he'd be the guy that I would really be mad at myself for not liking, but I couldn't help not to like. Like, I know full well you are not a bad person, but I just cannot like you, man. I am sorry for that. I'm right there with you. End of the show, we get the announcement that the Atlanta, Georgia host of the Crockett Cup will be at the, what was it, Streamway Arena or something like that? It's where the WNBA team in Atlanta plays basketball. I forget what it's called. Let's Google this because we have that technology. 2020 NWA Crockett. I'm just saying, if you want to do some synergy in Atlanta with the NWA and the Crockett Cup, why don't you bring in like Ice Cube? Go real into the NWA. That's some synergy, man. It's going to be held at the It's in College Park, Georgia, and it's going to be at the Gateway Center Arena. Marcus, would you be down with an NWA rap group and an NWA wrestling promotion, synergistic, cross-promotional events?
It will seem obvious, but I feel like somebody will get mad and be like, "Hey, is there something here we could like sue about?" It's like some idiot.
So someone gets really mad. They're like, I don't know. I feel like Ice Cube would be totally down for it. I just it's a feeling I got.
Yeah. He's at the end of the day, he's a businessman. You don't get the way he's gotten from where he's come from. Without being, I don't know too many people that would have came up with the big three. Regardless to how people feel about the concept or whatever, it has gotten traction and gotten a lot of guys who just can't necessarily stay away from the game back into it.
One, I love the big three. Two, I love old man Catino Mobley looking like he's 70, dunking on kids half his age. I'm here for that.
Is it Mr. I single-handedly made them have to set extreme boundaries for the dunk contest? Nate Robinson in the big three?
Yes, he is. The best part is, like, Google Catino Mobley today. The dude looks like Black Santa.
Let's see, Catino.
Cuttino, just so there's clarity.
Oh.
I feel like Have you seen the Goldberg movie Santa Slay?
Yeah.
I feel like if they did a remake with a black lead, you got to cast Katina Mobley because that dude looks like Black Goldberg. Just it works. It works so hard, and he's so aggressive on defense. I love Katina Mobley.
They also do have similar. It feels like similar beard styles.
Yes, they do. Very.
Actually, I have.
2004
I got that beard
Goldberg.
style. Yeah, obviously I don't have all the gray, but I appreciate gray. But yeah, that's okay. Wow, I'm looking at older Clipper. Yeah, he does look like Black Santa. Oh, some of these shots are an aggressive Black Santa. Oh,
I feel like he's one of these
that's
guys who is so angry at the younger generation that he's just like, if y'all weren't ageists, I'd still be in the NBA because I'm better than half you guys. And now that he's like super not allowed to be in the NBA, he's just super angry all the time. So he takes it on all the kids and all other big three players. That's headcanon right there. I love Katina Mobley. Him and Stevie Franchise when the Rockets were a thing with those two, and then they brought in Yao. That was a solid line.
Yeah.
Man. God, I miss Yao, man. So what do you have you seen any of the photos yet for this venue?
You say, do I like the venue?
Well, have you seen any of the photos yet for the venue?
No.
It's about 3,000-ish, 3 to 5,000-ish in regards to seat size. So it's like it's the kind of venue the NWA should be running. One of my biggest issues during the rise of TNA in like 05 to 2010 was that they were running venues that they had no business being in. I remember at Slammiversary 2009 they went and did the fucking Palace at Auburn Hills, which was 22 goddamn thousand seats. Like, what are you doing, TNA? You brought in like 4,000 people. But I really like this venue. I think it's the perfect size, and there's a lot you can do with this venue in terms of stylized. I tweeted out that I would like to see them do the hard camera opposite the windows, so that way you could have that cool kind of like window shot, and then just have them come out from the corner to the left of the windows. I sent you a photo on Skype. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the layout. Like I'm a sucker for wrestling venue layouts. Like it's weird.
That's kind of perfect, man.
It is. Like it's the perfect size venue. You can maneuver things how you will. Like all things considered, like this is the way to go. And I'm super happy that they found it. The Atlanta Dream play here, or at least has the WNBA season started? No, they haven't started yet. They will be playing there in 2020, so perfect venue for that too as well for the WNBA. Here's the photo for you guys watching on YouTube. We'll get to that.
That's really cool. I'm so glad they're not in one of those spaces with as soon as they get on the top rope, they're at the roof.
You mean like every goddamn WrestleCon event, or they're just in the basement of the hotel?
Like if you go for a 450, it's the end of you.
You can't even do you can't even do a goddamn 720 or a 480 because like as soon as you go for that second revelation, you smack your head on the lower end of the ceiling, so it's more like a 395. Oh, and how great was that? Okay, so I'm not a big fan of Black-ish, but I do love Anthony Anderson. And isn't I was about to go super white boy and go, isn't Morgan Freeman in that? No, Morpheus. Lawrence Fishburne. He's Anthony Anderson's father, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen some episodes, and it's really well written. And the mom she's super pretty, and she's really in my opinion the best part of the show from what 4 or 5 episodes I've seen. And there's that great GIF, I think it's from that show, of the little girl clutching her little heart like when she's shocked about something. I think that's adorable.
Yeah.
So But apparently there's a scene from last night's episode, where they're playing, I guess, football, probably Madden, because that's the only pro game that really anyone plays. And Anthony Anderson got upset and threw a remote into the wall, and they revealed like a giant hole. My first question was, why is he about to be pissed off that the boys put a hole in the wall when he just put a hole in the wall? Right? Like, you can't be mad at your kids for doing what you just did. But then he's like, how did this happen? And the son goes, well, we were reenacting the great Wrestle Kingdom match between Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I just went, yes!
You know, I went for a Rainmaker, and, you know, the rest is history.
By the by, speaking of history, old school Ring of Honor team, the Havana Pitbulls, will be back for the Ring of Honor Pash performance show. It's Ricky Reyes and Rocky Romero. So I'm excited about that because I love me some Ricky Reyes. And who doesn't love Rocky Romero?
That's a great tag team name, too, the Havana Pitbulls.
Right? It's so good. Okay, so let's talk about this Chris Bay signing because it just got a whole hell of a lot funnier. So according to Wrestling Inc., Impact has signed indie talent Chris Bay, one of the better indie wrestlers still on the market because, let's face it, MLW, AEW, NWA, Ring of Honor, Impact, WWE, they've cannibalized the indie scene. More WWE than anyone. They announced during tonight's episode that Bay has been officially signed. He's done some matches. This is me, not the article. He's done some matches with them in the past, like a lot of these Impact Pluses, the Twitch shows. And he's been on a few episodes of Impact, so he's been on the radar for a while. Bay recently worked the February 8th and 9th Impact tapings in a singles match against Damian Drake. And then in an 8-man match later on, it looks like his official post signing debut will be the match against Drake. The 24-year-old Bay, who is billed as the ultimate finesser. Ooh. The ultimate finesser. I like that. And is from Las Vegas. First worked at the Impact dates in 18 and 19. He also appeared in October 11, 2019 episode of 205 Live. And lost to Arya Daivari, in which you can see above. Bay has also worked for Ring of Honor, Bar Wrestling, GCW, PCW Ultra, and others. In an interesting bit of coincidence, that Impact announced Bay's signing on the same day that he was praised by AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes. Cody hosted a media call earlier today and revealed that he was looking at Bay. Cody made comments after being asked about AEW possibly bringing in more wrestlers of color in 2020. Quote, I've been doing deep dive on YouTube on a guy named Chris Bay, Cody said. He's a prime example of somebody who could potentially be good for our singles division. We haven't spoken to him or anything of the nature, but I'm sure this will have some sort of, we'll hear about it in some capacity. Maybe he should have called him before the media call. Just letting that one know. Marcus, that's pretty damn funny that Cody Rhodes got scooped the day of.
Can't have them all, Hasselhoff.
He does kind of look like David Hasselhoff.
But yeah, it's cool, man. I'm glad. I mean, he looks like 'cause I think I remember him saying on some of them Twitch shows. He seemed to be like he'd be a great addition for the X division.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's perfect. You know, get somebody else in there. Obviously, Trey Miguel is hot on dudes' tails because his mom is still in the picture, but. Yeah, they needed a nice signing like this, and I was hoping it would be somebody in the X division. So this is right on time, and somebody like Chris Bay, they could do a lot of stuff with that, specifically on a show where there are a lot of the romantic inklings in terms of certain story. Like I just watched while we was talking to watch the segment where Joey Ryan got beat down by RVD and RVD's girlfriend.
Oh, jeez.
Which it was really the funniest part about that when they was beating him down. Obviously, the cameraman's there, and the cameraman clearly has to do like a shuttle step to get around the ass of RVD's girl.
Yeah, that's one of those where you got to take an extra step back and then really accentuate that angle of the turn, because Katie Forbes is a lot of woman.
Yeah, but yeah, I dig it. I'm glad it happened. Like you said, you think everybody now is the whole idea is they're not in WWE anywhere else. Instantaneously, they must be going to AEW or I guess NXT. But it's nice to see Impact get a win. So,
I like him. Style wise, he reminds me a lot of Swerve, but I think he's a bit more
hmm
athletic. So I think he's going to be a little bit more dynamic of a athlete in the ring. As far as name goes, I would like to see get signed next. Alexia Nicole. I've been very impressed with her since I saw her. I think she's got the right kind of energy. And when they did that whole Rough Rider segment, I thought she stylistically looked the part. So I really think there's something there, and I think she deserves it. And please stop harassing her via emails. You twats. Don't do that.
she's getting harassed via emails by these clowns.
So apparently, because wrestlers post their work email essentially on their socials so they can get work.
Uh,
Email us for serious inquiries. Well, there are dudes apparently, and I think it was Alexi Nicole who said this. It may have been somebody else, but I'm under the impression it was Alexi Nicole. She basically said, "Stop emailing me one-word sentences asking me how I am, or asking me to kick you in the balls."
oh God, ball kicking bastards. Them. Uh,
People are weird,
that
man.
it's even worse now because people are so social media oriented. They really don't know how to communicate with people. So
God,
they all everything they do is like internet speak, or they're so used to not being able to type full paragraphs because of social media sentence limits that this is how are you, thanks, in an email, or please kick me in the balls, I will pay anything. Do you have an OnlyFans, Miss?
Yeah. I don't
What?
think she does. And we're not going to
Miss
talk
Nicole.
about anyone who may or may not.
But it's funny, man. Do your thing, get your hustle. Yeah, I'm surprised they hadn't signed her yet. I thought that would be a either her or who else was they kind of cool. Because didn't we see Shotzi there for a couple stints?
Yeah, and I'm super disappointed they didn't sign Shotzi. She was definitely one of my favorites. Watching those Shine shows, God, that's hard to say. Her and Delilah Doom were having a great little thing going on, and I was hoping so badly that they would sign both of them, because in my head, even though like when I think of feuds, I think of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels for some reason, like drastically different human beings, or Rock and Stone Cold. But Delilah Doom and Shotzi Blackheart were like essentially the same person, but coloristically, is that the right word? Shotzi was green and black, and Delilah Doom was more like pink, yellow, blue, kind of like I'm trying to think of the name of the ice cream. Like it's just like Superman ice cream is what we call it, but there was yellow in her style. And I was just like, they're stylistically very similar in the fact that they are both very colorful, both very bombastic, both very in their face, both very punkish in their orientation. Though Delilah Doom's more what I like to call 80s grit punk, where it's like very it's stripped off and it's just very DIY. While Doomy's more of a early 2000s kind of pop punk look, so kind of still like the same
Yeah.
vibe, but still different. And I was hoping like feud them, tag them, boom, Impact Knockouts tag team titles are back. But Delilah goes to NXT, and hey, more power to her. I'm not gonna watch her in NXT because I refuse to watch that company. But I wish nothing but the best for her because she's fantastic, and I'm glad that people like her and me, we're getting eyes on them because they're some of the better wrestlers in the business, and they deserve the fan bases to finally wake up and pay attention to them. But Doomy, I hope Delilah Doom, I hope she ends up in Impact still. But yeah, Baze, Alexi Nicole, they're and of course Shotzi were all part of that influx of indie talent that weren't signed, but you saw a lot of in 2019. So was Ashley Vox. She was around for a few stints in 19 because they were in Philly, which is where I think Vox works out of, because she does a lot of or did a lot of Shikara work. I don't know if she still does, but hey, they got one. But I'm hoping they get more because I think Delilah Doom and even Ashley Vox, I don't know what her deal is with NWA, but could both be very beneficial for the Knockouts division. Because there's a part of me, Marcus, that thinks Taya Valkyrie is not long for Impact.
I don't know. I would say I wouldn't put immediate stock in it, just because I would imagine that she could have, uh, I guess, cut the rope and jump ship with Johnny a while ago when he did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because maybe him fitting in there is one thing, but her fitting in there is something different. And maybe that's something she sees, because I don't see her having the level of creative freedom that she has right now, in WWE. But because I know how couples are, can be, and then specifically because they married, and obviously that WWE schedule is a different beast. I could see her very much wanting to, um, not cause too much separation there, and she may feel like she's done everything, in Impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it from that perspective. So in my heart of hearts, I would lean towards no, but I could see her, potentially finishing up a run, but I hope they're wrong on that, because I think she still could do a lot of stuff.
To be clear, it's simply conjecture and speculation on my part. There's no rumor that I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
with Johnny Impact, then Brian Cage. Melissa Santos is gone. At least that's how it
yeah.
looks, because they have a new backstage interviewer with Impact.
Hmm.
There's just when Scarlett left, so did Killer Cross, or at least he tried to. There's just this
Exactly.
running theme: when couples leave, they leave together. But also when champions after a long run drop the belt in Impact, they generally leave as well. Austin
Yeah,
Aries, Johnny Impact, Brian Cage, all the same boat. They all won the belt, then dropped it. Pentagon, he dropped the tag team titles and then left. Same with LAX, they dropped the tag team titles and then left. So there's just this. I'm conditioned now to believe that when an Impact champion of a long-standing tenure drops the belt, they're leaving. You know, God help me if Eddie wins the world title and then loses. I'm going to be on a goddamn train wreck going, please don't leave, please don't leave. And again, kudos to Eddie and Alicia for their adoption. I think that's a very cool thing. Very
oh
big
nice,
fan.
they adopt.
Yeah. Alicia Edwards has been posting photos on her Instagram about her and this little girl. I thought it was like a niece. Maybe it is a niece. I don't know. But they posted photos of the three of them at in a courtroom, signing papers, pretty much saying that we're now parents, kind of thing. I don't know if it's like a legal guardian situation or if they're out and out parents. I don't know if this little girl was in a foster kind of situation, they're adopting her, or if she was a family friend or the daughter of a relative and the parents can no longer take care of her, so they're adopting her. I don't know what the story is, and to be honest, like, it's not important. But yeah, they very much adopted a little girl, and I think that's wonderful, because I think adoption is one of the best things someone can do. We have too many
Wow,
kids
man,
in the world already.
that's great, and I can, that hits home for me because I am adopted.
I did not know that. My brothers are adopted.
Mm. Nice,
Yes.
but yeah. So that, like you said, man, kudos to them. That is a beautiful thing. It saves lives, man.
And I want to adopt, mostly because my genetics suck and I don't want to pass those on. The curse of
Vintage,
me.
vintage photo.
Daddy, am I yours biologically? Son, you're 6'4". Do the math. You've been taller than me since you were 10. Come on.
I see the silhouette now, the freaking Chad's Gran Torino and his 6'4" almighty son.
I'm taller than Gran Torino. I'm at least Deku size. Well,
Oh
like
man.
have you ever seen Easy A with Emma Roberts? Emma Stone? Emma Stone.
No.
Very funny movie. It's about a girl who's a virgin, and she ends up starting to let people tell everyone in school that they've like made it with her in exchange for money. So like, can I tell someone I made out with you? And she goes, sure, for a $25 Home Depot card. So then like the guy will give her the Home Depot card, and she'll be like, yeah, totally did it. But in the movie, she's Stanley Tucci's her father, and I forget who the actress who plays her mother. But they have a young black kid who's part of the family. He's now he's obviously adopted, and there's this great scene where they were talking to the daughter about like, puberty and growing up, and the mom says to the daughter, Emma Stone, she goes, "Oh, you don't need to worry about it. I was a late bloomer when I was your age, and so was your father." And the mom goes to the son, and you'll understand that later. It runs in the family. And the son goes, "Why would that matter? I'm adopted." And Stanley Tucci, who's an Italian, just slams the cupboard very mockingly and jokingly, goes, "What? Who told you?" It's the best scene in movie history, man. Clearly the kid knows. But it's very charming and adorable, and it's one of the better movies I've ever seen. And it kind of flies under the radar. Like, if you watch it, you're going to love it. So that's my endorsement for the week. There is another story I wanted to get to, because it kind of falls in line with Nyla Rose winning the AEW Women's Championship. I don't have any opinions on that. I'm always skeptical when a title change happens on a TV, though. Like if you got like a big pay-per-view coming up, and I think AEW does. I think they got one coming up here in February, March, because they're doing Jericho Moxley, right?
Correct.
And I have no idea when that is, but I'm assuming it's relatively soon. I'm always kind of like, why didn't you just wait for the fucking pay-per-view? So I don't have any, fucking issues with Nyla Rose. I've always lived by the credence that, as long as you're not doing something wrong in your life, you do you. Like, there's too much negativity going on in this world. And people might be listening to the show going, "You just got slammed all day." No, I had a lot of people disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm fine with being disagreed with. I'm not always right, and I don't expect to always be right. But there's a difference between disagreeing with someone and throwing just legitimate hate at people. Now, everyone's going to have their stances on everything in this world, and that's fine. The only one I'm a diehard, will never change, I am don't tread on me, entrenched on this one, is pineapple on pizza, man. You bring pineapple on pizza to my house, and you are not going to be my house. You can try to kill me, and I'll forgive you faster than pineapple on pizza. Man, like, I'm sorry I tried to stab you. Hey, man, don't worry about it. And then, like, most beautiful girl in the world, "I got pineapple on pizza." Get out. No. So
Say good day.
Mark's is going all Fez on people. But Fez, this is when you say good day.
Chad just goes full Willy Wonka. "Good day, sir. I told you I don't like pineapple pizza, etc., etc."
Read the fine print. You lose. Good day, sir. Although, I'm not saying sir. You bring pineapple on pizza in my house, you lose my respect.
Oh, man.
But there, everyone's got to have like a political stance. Everyone's got to be, on one side or another with the pitchforks ready to go. And no, whatever your takes are, I don't need to hear them. I don't care. Nyla Rose is Nyla Rose, whether you agree with her or you don't. Just be it like that. And you don't need, and I'm not speaking to anyone specifically, I'm just speaking out loud. You don't need to agree with the idea of transgenderness. Like, that's fine. That's your prerogative. You do you. I don't think it hurts at all to refer to someone as the way they want to be referred to. I mean, I think that's human decency, but whatever. Nyla Rose winning the women's championship in pro wrestling is fine. It would be a different story if it was mixed martial arts, where there's a legitimate issue with body type, size, and all that highfalutin bullcrap. You know what I mean? Like, this is a different situation. So I feel like there's allowed to be a lot more breathing room here. So Nyla Rose winning a women's title, she identifies as a woman. I don't have any issue with that. This isn't Harvey Wippleman. But Val Venus. Oh, boy. Val Venus apparently went full bore on her and says, basically slammed them for having, quote, portraying a biological man winning the women's championship, unquote. That's Val Venus. Cody wasn't having that, though. I've mentioned before, I have a lot of issues with how Cody and company run AEW, because I don't think you should have the talent running the business. You don't let Drew Brees run the Saints. You don't let LeBron James run the Lakers, although he did run the Cavs, and look at where we are now. But you don't let talent run the business. It's just logical. Because then you get Cody Rhodes booking himself out of future world titles for what reason? But Cody on this conference call said, quote, "It's just disappointing if you're somebody that grew up liking Val Venus. He's kind of like the Disco Inferno of the WWE, as I don't think anyone really knows who Val Venus is anymore. But it's disappointing. I don't think he's actually meant. I'm sorry, I misquoted that. I don't think he actually means the terrible things he's put into writing. I think he's just trying to get a booking. We're not booking Val Venus, and you're not going to be booked anywhere near us, Cody said before, adding that the best way to end bigotry is by not even going back and forth with people that think this way. Not giving Val Venus any oxygen when it comes to Nyla Rose. He goes on to say Nyla won the championship because she was the best woman at AEW, and that's it. I think we should all just stop hitting the ball back to these people. This is 2020, and everybody should love everybody in some capacity. I don't necessarily agree that Nyla Rose is the best woman in AEW. I don't know if there is a best woman in AEW. That women's division is not the best in pro wrestling right now. And I don't know why. They have some talent, but they don't look good. I don't know how you can have that much talent and look so bad all the time. Like, every single women's match that I watched, like the first 12 shows or whatever it was rough to some degree. And I think part of the issue is, like, Britt Baker's the face of their division, and Brandy Rhodes is the face of their division. You have the two least athletic performers, wrestlers, in your company as the centerpieces of every feud. Yeah. Wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Brandy just recently came out and said she was kind of done with the whole Nightmare Collective thing, which I think, look, that clearly wasn't working. It was too many question marks popping up when stuff happened. And she came out and said, things weren't going where, she thought they should go or would go. And she kind of cut bait on it and did some stuff to do an exit on it, both on and off screen. And she, kind of inserted herself back into, I'm not definitely not going to say where she should be, but where she, I think, works better is being a great support system for Cody, specifically with his feud with MJF. So I'm not saying she can't have other roles on the show. It's just that one was severely not working. So I'm glad they at least had to know it all and not pull a WWE whereas this is clearly shitty, but we're going to keep doing it anyway because we're just going to commit to it. Just cut bait if something's not working. So I'm glad that they don't, have their heads up their proverbial butts that far to just, run something into the ground. Like you said with Cody, for having the wherewithal to take feedback from fans. And now, how could he not when he spent all those years in that company, probably taking ideas to them, I would imagine specifically when he was Stardust, to do other things and probably being, blatantly ignored week to week. So, and God knows how many other people he's seen turned down for creative ideas brought to, the big man. So, I think it's good in that regard. In terms of her being the best, I don't know. I'm a fan of Swole, but that being said, me being a fan of Big Swole don't mean she's the best there. I've not clicked with anything with Britt Baker. I'm glad she's getting some type of heat, but she more annoys me than, in terms of me liking her as a heel. Apparently, Nala and Rio had a pay-per-view quality match. I got to go back and watch it. But what was all this outrage when she, where's this outrage been this whole time that she's been on the roster? Is it just because they made a champion? Again.
I do want to put context. There was a lot of outrage when she was signed, but it wasn't from a lot in the business. Yeah. It's one of those things. But then again, Val Venus is Val Venus. So, like, what are you going to
do? Yeah, it's weird because when you said, Val Venus, I'm like, Jesus, the dead is risen. Because when was the last time we got something from, freaking Val Venus? And because we don't get anything from Val Venus, it almost lends credence to what Cody said, like, dude, you're just trying to get us to somehow book you or something, or maybe he's trying to do something because he's seeing some stuff with intergender stuff he's trying to get on the show and maybe have some type of feud with her. Like, if this is some type of bait, it's shitty bait, and he's doing nothing but alienating himself, specifically with Cody and probably other progressive wrestling fans who really wasn't checking for him nowhere near in this time frame anyway. So, yeah, that sucks. But, hopefully they can leave this, this lady alone and let her be whatever she's going to be, a champion. And if it doesn't work, they'll put somebody else in. So,
Marcus, did you ever see the cult classic film Clerks?
Yeah.
Randall Graves had a line that I think sums me up whenever I enjoy some type of product. And the line is, this job wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for all the fucking customers. Well, fandoms wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for all the fucking fans. And here's why I say this. About 7-8 years ago, Val Venus went on diatribe after diatribe after diatribe, ripping Matt and Jeff Hardy. Because Jeff Hardy was in TNA at the time, and Matt Hardy was going through a lot of personal issues, everyone jumped to Val Venus' defense and like, yeah, Val's telling the truth. Fuck the Hardys. And now these same fans are chastising Val. I'm not agreeing with what Val Venus says. I'm saying you as fans need to stop putting stock in wrestlers to validate your opinions. Validate your own opinions and fuck what everyone else thinks. You don't need some blue check marks validity to make sure that you know that what you believe is what you believe. If you truly don't believe what you're saying, don't say it. And if you truly believe what you're saying, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Have some credibility, have some chutzpah in your own words. Have some, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like credibility, but not like credibility. Oh, God damn it. I hate when I do this. I had so many head injuries during football. And when I was born. Have some character, man. Like, let your words and actions define you. But Val Venus just proved to me what I already knew 9 years ago, that he's a dipshit.
Yeah, and it doesn't help with the gimmick either, because now he's just a toxic masculinity rant waiting to happen.
But he runs a pot shop, Marcus, so he's never going to be too stressed out.
He's helping the community. But no, and to the people listening, if you're wondering if you might be that person that Chad's saying don't be, if you look at your Twitter profile and that little part where you get to describe yourself, if in that part you have it where a particular wrestler followed you and you have the date in which they followed you, you're probably the person he's talking about.
Yeah. Like, I try not to be the guy who's like, you wouldn't be surprised who's in my Rolodex. That shows you how old I am, that I actually know what a goddamn Rolodex is and what to choose for. But you don't need to brag. Like, no one's going to think you're cool. They're going to think you're a douche. Don't do that. Speaking of being a douche, let's talk about JBL real fast. Segways. I am the king of segways. Let's be honest about that one. 2 names are apparently heading into the Hall of Fame this year alongside the NWO. Rumoredly, the OG British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith Sr., I should say, is set to finally be inducted after goddamn feels like 39 goddamn years. Probably why Davey Boy Jr. was there talking to them a few weeks ago was to set up the induction for his father. Fortunately for the Smith Hearts, both Davey Boy Jr. and his mother are still alive to accept the honor. So, you know, that's going to be a very cool thing to see. On the flip side, JBL is apparently another name about to go in. JBL is from a report from Wrestling Inc., so take that with a grain of salt. And Bulldog is a report from Dave Meltzer, which has a lot more validity. Let's assume both are true. JBL, Davey Boy Smith. Do you agree with both inductions? As I lose Marcus.
Damn it, muted myself. Yeah, yeah, I do agree. It's funny though, because they haven't inducted. Well, no, because we would have gotten it before. They haven't inducted APA, right?
Not together. Faroukson, I think. At least he should be.
Yeah, because that was gonna be my next point. I'm like, okay, well, so I'm guessing eventually we're gonna get to Farouk. We're gonna have to wait till they, we need a last minute team. Okay, yeah, okay, we get APA. Because again, we see people inducted 5 times because they was in 5 factions and then alone and stuff like that. So, yeah, I agree. Again, it's cool just to see a lot of these people be able to get in now, still alive. And JBL, even aside from the stuff with APA, he had a stint. Wasn't the best time to be a SmackDown fan, but He did his thing. So, and again, there's no. It's hard to have an argument about the credibility of people going in because this company just puts whoever they feel like in this thing. So, but I do think these are, as far as having some long-term credibility, these are two good names, and it's cool that somebody like David Boyd Jr., who was a part of the company for a time, gets to come back and at least put his pops in. I think that's cool.
I think that's very cool as well. You and I are both very big proponents of the father-son dynamic, so I'm always a fan of anything involving that. For me, I'm gonna go on and double down on something that I think a lot of people don't know about me. That 2002 to 2007 stint on SmackDown, literally my favorite time in WWE history. And that includes JBL's title run. There's something very unique to me about watching a promotion that does not have a lot of stars that are able to put together a show every week and have it be enjoyable. It doesn't feel so bogged down. You're not so forced to keep up with 30, 40, 50 goddamn angles at the same time. There's 6 or 7. They build them up. There's a hierarchy. It makes sense. And I like when things make sense. JBL's not a great wrestler, but that clothesline from Hell is fantastic. And his promos, as insensitive and borderline racist as they were hilarious. And I will not sit here and pretend I didn't laugh my ass off watching JBL fight Godzilla in Japan. I 100% laughed at that shit. Because it was so insensitive and it was so meant to be so belligerently over the top that it worked. And that was some funny shit, man. Granted, JBL did far worse things, like the goose stumping in Germany. Goose stumping, for those of you who don't know what that term is the Nazi walk. That was over the line. But that wasn't on TV. That was on a house show. But the kicking Hispanics out of America, literally, and doing the whole shit with Godzilla in Japan, that shit made me laugh. And his commentary was fantastic. When somebody bumped into him when he was on commentary, Marcus, like, this line still resonates with me. He says, you do that again, and I'll dig up Johnny Cochran, and I'll sue your ass.
Yeah. Despite his later years with a lot of just outright stupid stuff he said and did, JBL did have some great one-liners, and I gotta admit, I never get tired of seeing him do that damn two-step dance thing that he does where he takes his hat off, and you know the dance I'm talking about.
Yep.
So that's always amusing. He has some real amusing parts, and like you said, it is something to be said about because he's another person that changed the entire perception of himself because he like left TV for a while and then came back with that gimmick.
Yeah,
like re-debuted that gimmick.
He was gone for a few months. Then they did a shtick where when he came back with Ron Simmons, reunited with the APA in early 04, early to mid 04, because he had been doing a lot of stints on Fox Business because he plays the stock markets. I don't know why it's called play the stock markets, but whatever. And he came back and I forgot who the GM was at the time. I think it was Kurt Angle, but it may have been Paul Heyman. And he pretty much said, you guys either fall in line or you're gone. And Ron Simmons like, well, I'm gone then. And JBL's like, I can't leave, Ron. And Ron's just like, damn, and walked away. And then like a week or two later, JBL debuts as JBL. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This will never work. They're going to put him in a feud with Eddie Guerrero. Psh! And then he wins. I'm like, holy fuck. You got me on that one. Didn't see it coming.
And one of the most gruesome matches that, in that company's history.
Ironically enough, I think the reason why his title run has not looked very fondly is because the latter two feuds in his run, because he did Cena at the end and he did Eddie at the beginning, and both of those were really good. But during the summer to the fall, he feuded with The Undertaker, and those matches were hot garbage. And then Kurt Angle and The Big Show, and those weren't any better. And I'm just like, how did you fuck that up?
Wait a minute, because he also had a run against Batista too, right?
Yeah, that came after he lost the belt.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that came because he retired, then he came back with Batista.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a few months off. He retired right after the Batista because Batista came in as the champion, and I think Batista and him did something in late '05, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because like you said, Batista came in champion, but of course I think he had to relinquish the belt, and then that whole thing with Henry happened, and then yeah, you got to go back and look at the timeline
Okay.
because there was a lot of that transpired.
All right. So SummerSlam '05, it says JBL versus Batista, no holds barred. Let me double check that. SummerSlam 2005. Because I don't remember SummerSlam 2005 at all besides Shawn and Hogan.
Yes, the overselling to hell by Shawn Michaels.
All right, yeah, Batista to defeat JBL in 9 minutes in a no holds barred match. So yeah, Batista and JBL hooked up in the summer of '05 after JBL had already lost the belt because he lost the belt. He lost the WWE. No, he lost the WWE Championship to John Cena at WrestleMania 21. Then they did the whole battle royal in May, June. Did the whole battle royal in June. John goes to Raw. JBL wins the battle royal, last eliminating I think Booker T or Christian. And then as JBL is about to be handed a belt, Batista is the last lottery pick, and he walks out with the World Heavyweight Championship. God, I love Batista's World Heavyweight Championship run in '05. That was fucking
Oh,
fantastic.
me and my mom was his biggest fans, man. Love that whole stint because I mean, obviously, like that great stuff with Triple H. He was the only person that beat Triple H 3 times straight, and then he went to SmackDown, and then that was the whole thing. He had a little rough adjustment period, which is ironically where I think him and Eddie really bonded.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I mean, yeah, like you said, that was a great time because they had Batista, JBL, Eddie, Stereo was there, Finley. Which eventually Hornswoggle, he was going around hitting everybody with that damn shit lately. Lashley was there because I remember Lashley tried to flip a car over on Finley. Yeah, that was.
That was great. Fucking 5'5" Irish dude slaying this giant ass black dude, and the giant ass black dude responds by throwing a Volvo at him. I don't know why I find that so goddamn funny.
Vintage days of Teddy Long. We're gonna have a tag team match.
No,
Oh man,
we're gonna have a tag team match, playa.
player.
Like everything from SmackDown 6, the Benoit title stuff when he went to Raw was really good. I liked that a lot, even though Benoit is a very heavy subject to even think about these days. I was that got me back into WWE, truthfully. Like a lot of the '02 and '03 stuff I watched after the fact because I was like, fuck this noise. I'm going to watch this TNA garbage because like, fuck off. So like after like start of 2003, I was, I didn't watch anymore. But I got back into it in '04 because of Benoit, and then I got really into SmackDown at the same time. And SmackDown, I don't know, man. High school, senior year, college, freshman year, like watching, SmackDown on Friday nights with my buddies was just fun. I dug it. So, I have a very fond place in that for that, era in my heart. Even though, like, there's a lot of misses with that talent roster. As good as the Ruthless Aggression era was for cultivating those four big names, your Ortons, your Batistas, your Brock Lesnar's, and your John Cena's. You also had your Brent Albrights and your Charlie Haas's. So not always the. And granted, Brent Albright and Charlie Haas were phenomenal talents, but they weren't used right. No one was used right. They're still not being used right. This company's goddamn secular.
Yeah, that 2004. I mean, yeah, you got names like you had La Resistance during some of those periods. And obviously this is on Raw and stuff, but I think he was on SmackDown. You got Muhammad Hassan,
Yup.
stuff like that. Everything hit. Not everything hit.
Everyone's least favorite Italian Muslim.
Oh, and who could forget Suzuki? Kenzo Suzuki.
Well, he was America's #1 fan. I like that his real life wife was his valet. Because as
Yeah.
often as we see it now, that wasn't always a big thing. Like really, Savage and Elizabeth were really the only married couple that I can think of off the top of my head that were actually booked together. and then Suzuki and his wife. Well, and Deborah and
Yeah,
Stone Cold.
then eventually we got, Book and Charmel.
Yes, and then it just became a trend in like 2014.
Yeah, like everybody's back anyway, put them on screen.
And then we do cucking angles. All the cucking angles. Speaking of, I don't have a potential wives. There we go. That's a segue. Shout out goes to my Foxy, Alicia Fox. She came out and announced today that she is 6 months sober. I am very proud of anyone who can keep their sobriety going. It is a long and tireless struggle. And in the United States, we have too much in the way of temptation and addiction. And I think I read somewhere, I might be wrong on the exact number, but it was like 62% of Americans have some type of drinking problem. I'm going to have to double check that stat, but like a lot of people have really, not common alcoholism, what is it? Social alcoholism, where they need to drink when they go out to parties or get-togethers, and they just feel they have to. We have a lot of issues with alcohol and drugs in this country, and there's a lot of people struggling with alcohol and drugs in this country. So anyone who can strive to keep their sobriety going, I am truly impressed with.
Yeah, man.
I can speak.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and that this could have cost her, a life. I mean, she, all that driving and stuff up and down the roads. We talk about it all the time, and it's very interesting that we don't hear about more certain things happening with these wrestlers on the road just because of how exhausted they probably be, not just physically but mentally drained from everything that they go through with this endless amount of travel and driving. So, she may have been in those situations and perhaps constantly impaired. Thank God that she, kind of got away and got a chance to heal herself. And like you said, it's an everyday fight. So to be 6 months. Every minute of every day you have to make the choice to stay that way. So, kudos to her. And, like you said, it's a big epidemic because a lot of people are very much alcoholics, but they'll just excuse it away. Well, oh, no, I'm a functioning, drinker. I'm like, that doesn't make it better, man.
Who else? Was it Rosa Mendez who also had alcohol issues?
Yeah, I think she had that or some type of issue, but I think it was alcohol.
No, it was definitely alcohol because Michael PSA's got her drinking again, and then he got suspended for that. I would have taken him out back with a goddamn belt and introduced him to my friend Mr. Flappy Leather. But that's frowned upon in corporate America, apparently.
I would have used some gasoline and a lighter for the outfit alone, and then him burning would have been a bonus.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I would have allowed that to happen because that's going to be really toxic for the environment.
You don't like alcohol, do you?
Well, drink this. So I wonder if there's an issue with drinking in the WWE still. I do generally wonder. Because, they do a great job keeping things quiet to a degree at times, but also not. But when it comes to substance issues, like, no one's really talking about it. So I don't know if it's completely cleaned up, if it's just a different generation and these are outliers, or if there's far more issues drinking than we know. Like, we know Braun Strowman enjoys his drinks. He enjoys his drinks so much that he's going to get into an argument with Karen Jarrett. Remember that?
No, that was hilarious. Like, no, please don't tell him. Don't say nothing. I'll give you an autograph, please. No.
Fucking, I've never seen a 7-foot monster back away so fast from somebody when a woman mentions who her ex-husband is. Not even her husband. Do you know who my ex-husband is? It's Kurt Angle. I done the fucking up. Yeah, I did.
You know what's worse than a guitar over the head? A broken ankle from somebody with a broken freaking neck.
Don't fuck with a man with a broken freaking neck, man. I'll tell you what. All right. Anything else you want to comment on before we end tonight's show?
Oh no, that's that pretty much covers it. We'll see where good old broken / woken Matt lands since he got RKO'd the hell off of television.
What do
You
you
know,
think of his exit? Because they already did this once before, and then they come back and do it again.
yeah, I don't get it. I don't know if they're trying to stretch for time to give more validity to what Edge did to. Because it's ironic of all the things we constantly see people being knocked off of these sickly, insane height structures, getting put in the ambulances and then driving the damn ambulance back, or being almost killed in the night and somehow returning. They allow this to breathe. People getting suspended and then showing up in the audience next week with the entrance music or something, like some weird stuff. Uh, so I just think he's a convenient scapegoat for this feud, and it also allows them to kind of embarrass him on his way out, specifically if he's going to AEW. So, you know, it's still weird to hear him after all those years with Edge come out trying to defend this guy to Randy Orton of all people. But things really do change. But they need somebody to feed the Orton to make him look sadistic, and God, I hope they never turn that man face again. He's such a natural asshole.
I mean, he's a natural asshole because he is an asshole. I mean, you are what you are, I guess. All right, so that'll do it for tonight's show. We're done. We're wrapping up. Marcus and I will be back on Thursday. I don't know what we're doing Thursday. Maybe we'll talk more boys. I want to hear your thoughts on Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
and on Sonic.
Boys, Harley Quinn, Sonic. Gotta catch up on some My Hero.
I am caught up on My Hero. By the way, I posted the trailer on Twitter for the next movie they're doing. They're going to be on some island.
Yeah, I was just watching the English, another English dub of it coming out on the 26th. Can't wait to get my hands on that some kind of way.
I mean, we're totally going to do it legally.
Totally. Me and Chad are so headed to LA.
We're buying $500 round trip plane tickets for a $22 film. Like, of course we are. We have that kind of disposable income. We make all the money on the YouTube.
A movie, by the way, that's not even canon. Although, after your celebrity run today, we might be getting some clicks. That might be changing.
Yeah, maybe. All right, we're done. Thanks for tuning in. I gotta take my car up to the auto body shop anyway. So, for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Pardo. This has been another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. You can find us on the website at realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. We're on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. Marcus can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me. You
can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, at True Penny Show on Twitter, TruePennyShow.
Yep.
Right, it's just True Penny Show. It's not The True Penny Show on Twitter. I know the formal title is The True Penny Show, but the Twitter handle is just True Penny Show.
Yep.
Okay.
At True Penny Show. Yep.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. So yeah, Zach and I are on tomorrow night. Same Twitch channel, twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground and youtube.com/WrestlingUnderground. We're going to be reviewing this past week's episode of Impact that ended today. So tune in tomorrow for that. And then Marcus and I are back on Thursday. And then Chuck Season 3 on Friday. So we got a loaded lineup for you. So with all that being said, Marcus, we're done. Take us home.
Good night, me.